We've had a look at strings, so now let's have a look at numbers. And in PHP there's two main different types of numbers that you'll deal with. The first one are whole numbers, so 1, 2, 10, 55, i.e. numbers without a decimal place. And then we have floating point numbers, so 6.7, 12.5, 10.8, numbers which have a decimal point. So we're talking about integers, they are whole numbers, and floats, floating point numbers, they are numbers with decimal points. So let's go and have a play around with them here. We'll create a new folder. We'll call it number 4 numbers. And inside of there, we'll just create a PHP file, which we shall also call numbers. So numbers.php. And so let's start out with the two different types of numbers first. So here's an example. We have whole numbers, notice no decimal points, so these are known as integers, shortened to int quite often, so integer, but often shortened to int. And then we have decimals, which we regard or we call floating point numbers. That's a bit of a mouthful, so we tend to just call them floats. Okay, and then once you have numbers, we've assigned these to variables now. So the variable apples has the value 4 and the variable price per apple has the value 0.5, means that you can then start to do some maths with those variables. So for example, we can say something like total cost equals apples multiplied by price per apple. Now we haven't got onto mathematical operations yet, but you'll see this little asterisk, and in PHP what that means is it is a multiplication. So we are multiplying apples by price per apple, so 4 multiplied by 0.5, so we should get a total of 2 here. Okay, so let's echo total cost. And we'll make sure we're in the right folder, so we need to be inside of numbers, and then we just need to run that PHP and then numbers.php, and as you can see we get a value of 2 for that. Okay, let's have another quick example just to make that sink in. So say for example, I'll just comment out that echo so that that doesn't display. So say for example we have a price and we have a tax rate, and we want to calculate the total cost of something. The way that we could do that would be like this. So total equals the price, so the base price. We want to figure out the tax. The way we do that is to multiply the price by the tax rate, and so you'll notice that I'm using parentheses here. Now as it happens, price multiplied by tax rate would be calculated first, and we'll talk about the order of operations in a moment, but here we've just calculated the price plus the tax rate, or the price including tax. And so if we go and echo that out, we now get 60. So this on its own would have evaluated to 10, 0.2 or 0.2 of 50. Okay, so the way that things are calculated in PHP, it's like in real life maths really. It uses this PEMDAS, sometimes called BODMAS, depending on where you are in the world. And so this tells you the order in which everything is calculated. So first it will calculate the things which are in parentheses, followed by exponents, followed by multiplication, then division, then addition, and then subtraction. So a couple of quick examples here. For the first one, 5 plus 3 multiplied by 2. So if we look at this, the multiplication is going to happen first. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. Added to that 5, we get a value of 11. But this second one, it's the same thing, but we've wrapped the 5 plus 3 in parentheses. So that will actually get evaluated first, get calculated first. 5 plus 3 equals 8. Then multiply that by 2 and you get 16. So we've touched on a little bit of maths there. Maths is something which you're going to do quite a lot with numbers in PHP. The main takeaways from this one is really to know Now there's two main different types of numbers, integers and floats, and that you can perform mathematical functions using those, and you can combine them. You can multiply an integer by a float, and of course you can store the values in variables, and in fact storing the values in variables just makes it a lot easier when you want to go and do things like calculations. So you can reference the same value, for example 50, multiple times by storing that value in a variable like we've done here. And as you can see, we've actually used that more than once in this calculation here. In PHP, and indeed in any programming language, you'll use numbers in everything that you do. So even though we've just touched on the basics of numbers here and some of the things that you can do with them, we cover numbers in a lot more depth in the book, and they're used in each of the chapters.